If you've got a cat, or maybe a couple of cats, you've definitely noticed that no two are alike, right? You might have this super social butterfly who's all over everyone, and then there's the other one, the quiet observer. But have you ever stopped to wonder why they're so different? Well, today we're going to dive deep into the biological reasons that make male and female cats just, well, so wonderfully unique. So let's just get right to the heart of it. How can two cats living under the same roof act like they're from completely different planets? It's a question I'm sure a lot of us have asked ourselves, especially when one is literally climbing the curtains and the other is just sitting on top of the fridge, quietly judging your life choices. And the answer is, well, it's absolutely fascinating. Of course, every cat has its own little personality, but it goes way deeper than that. Their behavior is also shaped by this incredibly old, deep-seated evolutionary blueprint. Think of it like their fundamental architecture, something that's been fine-tuned over thousands of years. And it creates some really consistent patterns. So let's start with how they see their home.
Okay, first up, guarding the kingdom. For a cat, your house isn't just a cozy place to nap. Oh no, it is a kingdom, and it needs to be managed. But as we're going to see, kings and queens, they have very different management styles.
And you can see those different styles right here. Male cats, they're the guards on patrol. They're driven by testosterone, so they're constantly making their rounds, rubbing up against furniture, and yeah, sometimes even urine marking. They're basically leaving these little scent messages everywhere that say, hey, this is my turf. Now, female cats, on the other hand, they're a bit more subtle about it. For them, it's all about safety and awareness. So they prefer to find a high perch and just observe, like a queen surveying her entire realm from the castle walls. So if you're dealing with that scent marking, it's really important to remember it's not just a bad habit, it's communication. He's trying to send a message. The number one thing you can do is neuter your cat. That really dials down the hormonal drive behind it. But you can also help by making sure they have separate resources, their own food bowls and litter boxes so there's less competition, and using some of those synthetic calming pheromones can also work wonders to lower their stress about defending their space. Which brings us back to the female approach. See, for them, control isn't about marking boundaries on the floor. It's all about owning the vertical space. That high shelf, the very top of the cat tree, that's not just a comfy spot to them, that is a throne. It gives them security, it's a strategic vantage point, and it's a behavior that's totally hardwired from their wild ancestors. Okay, so this whole idea of security and control, it also plays a huge role in our next topic, how cats show love. And just like with territory, you're going to see that the ways male and female cats form bonds and show affection can be, well, pretty darn different. So male cats are often let's call them the in-your-face lovers. They're usually more openly social. They'll be the ones to initiate contact, rub all over your legs, and basically demand cuddles. Female cats, though, can be a bit more selective. Their affection might be quieter, just sitting near you, kind of observing, and then giving you that famous slow blink, which, by the way, is a massive sign of trust and comfort. Now, it's super easy to mistake this for being aloof or distant, but a much better word for it is intentional. A female cat's affection isn't any less than a male's. It's just more deliberate. When she decides to grace you with her presence, believe me, it's a very conscious decision. And that's what makes it so incredibly meaningful. So how do you earn that kind of affection? Simple. You have to let them set the pace. Just be a steady, reliable presence in their life. The golden rule is to never, ever force an interaction. Always wait for them to make the first move. This whole approach shows that you respect their boundaries, and it proves you're someone safe they can trust. All right, let's switch gears from affection to action. We all know every cat is a born hunter, right? But the way their instincts for play and pouncing show up can be really distinct. This is where we get to see their inner predator really come to life. And here you can see the two sides of that hunting coin. Male cats, their play is often all about explosive, impulsive energy. We're talking wrestling, high-speed chases through the house, these dramatic leaps. It's just raw power. Female cats, on the other hand, are channeling that ancestral role of being super efficient hunters. They're more strategic. They'll watch, they'll wait, and they'll calculate the perfect moment for that one precise pounce. Okay, does this sound familiar to anyone? It's 2 a.m, you're sound asleep, and suddenly it sounds like a herd of tiny elephants is stampeding through your living room. Yep, the late-night zoomies. It's a classic cat thing, but it's especially common in male cats.
But here's the thing, it's not just random chaos. That's all this stored up predatory energy that just needs an outlet. The fix? A really good, vigorous play session with something like a wand toy, right before you go to bed. It helps them feel like they've completed a hunt, they get to release all that energy, and then hopefully everyone gets a much quieter night.
Okay, last big comparison. Let's look at how they handle new situations. This could be anything from a visitor at the door to you just rearranging the living room furniture. Their approaches to curiosity and stress, also pretty different. Male cats, their wild ancestors had these huge territories to roam, so they often keep that adventurous spirit. They're probably going to be the first to investigate a new cardboard box or maybe even greet a stranger. But female cats, their instinct is all about protecting a nest and kittens, so they are naturally more cautious. This means they're often way more sensitive to any kind of disruption. They prefer stability over surprises. So, what does this mean for us? Well, it means we can cater to their specific needs. For that adventurous male cat, you want to keep him engaged with things like puzzle feeders and lots of interactive play. For your more sensitive female cat, you'll want to focus on creating a really stable environment with predictable routines and plenty of safe, cozy hiding spots where she can go to feel secure. All right, so we've looked at territory, how they show love, how they play, and how they adapt. But now it's time to bring it all together and talk about the big picture here. And this is probably the most important thing to remember. These patterns we've talked about, they're powerful influences for sure, but they are not absolute rules set in stone. You might have a super-duper cuddly female cat or a really shy male cat. The point isn't to try and stuff them into a box. It's just to understand the blueprint they're working from. Because at the end of the day, a happy cat is an understood cat. When you recognize that your male cat's crazy energy needs an outlet, or that your female cat really needs that safe spot up high, you're not just managing behavior anymore. You're actually honoring their nature. You're working with their instincts, not against them. And that's how you create a home where they can feel truly confident and secure. So the next time you're just watching your cat, look a little closer. Try to look past just their quirky personality and think about those ancient instincts that are at play. Whether they're marching down the hallway on patrol or just blinking slowly at you from across the room, they're always communicating. The real question is, what are they trying to tell you?